Hi there, welcome to BIZTALK. I'm Mikhail Raj. Today we focus on transit-oriented development or TOD, which refers to property development focusing on urban growth around transit facilities. It leverages on transit investments such as LRT, MRT, rail links, and transportation networks to what you call produce a sustainable living environment. But ironically, in Malaysia, Malaysia is still relying heavily on traditional planning or for its infrastructure development. So, what are the challenges now that the government, urban planners, and even property developers face in embracing transit-oriented development? The full details on BIZTALK. Welcome back. For more on transit-oriented development, we have in the studio Mr. Teck Seong. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Villamas Group. Mr. Gan, welcome to BIZTALK. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Sure. See, although the benefits of transit-oriented development are well recognized, the emphasis on incorporating features that leverages on the potential sustainable benefits of TODs reportedly leaves much to be desired in Malaysia, as far as Malaysia is concerned. So the question, Mr. Gan, is what are the challenges faced by the government, state governments, municipalities, or urban planners, and especially property developers like yourselves in undertaking transit-oriented property development projects?
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
First of all, through our experience with developing this TOD, naturally we come to dealing with a lot of government agencies. Okay. Through our experience, thankfully, throughout all the government agency, whether it is from federal levels or the state government level, has their objective aligned. Yeah. That is to promote the use of mass transit and to make our people less rely on the use of private car. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there are sometimes certain agency will still stick back to the older guidelines, like especially sort of like they're still imposing higher parking requirements or other restriction on the developers. Mm-hmm. Bear in mind that TOD has to promote a higher intensity of land use, mm-hmm. and rightfully it should also promote a more creative kind of land use, mm-hmm. Which means to say, because developments, there are residential developments traditionally, there are residential developments and there are commercial developments. Mm-hmm. But the concept of TOD, from what we understand from overseas, there are a promotion of mixed use, mm-hmm. of nature of usage. So naturally, you will come across a TOD will have make use of development, which means there will be residential elements and commercial elements, and
also the amenities and all that.
The amenities on all that.
I think basically, I think Malaysia is like at the transition,
Yeah.
So some are embracing it in Klang Valley, and then the other outlying areas is still the rural areas and all that. But then, Mr. Gan, from your foresight and your experience so far with Meta City and all that, how are TOD projects likely to change the landscape in Malaysia's property sector? Basically, what will be the features of the TOD?
Okay. first of all, the introduction of promotion of mass transit is not only changing the property landscape, it is changing the urban lifestyle in a big way. We are talking about promoting the use of mass transit so that there are less dependence on car. There are many benefits that come along such policy from the government. There will be more efficient lifestyle. That means people can move around the city, commute to other place with the reliable and fast mass transit.
Because one of the things is that a lot of people are wasting productive time while commuting, and in Klang Valley they say that people spend 1 to 4 hours average on commuting and all that, you see. So that's why the question is there a potential for the government to identify more what you call transit planning zones, TPZs, you know, so to facilitate TODs in the country?
By definition, I believe transit planning zone is a zone that is 400 meters within the radius of a platform.
Okay.
So, to have more transit planning zone, government just have to have more mass transit in a way to have more station that will promote the transit planning zone.
I suppose we are now in the developing stage because we are having the LRT extension to Klang, and we have the MRT extension to Putrajaya and Cyberjaya.
So we have more transit planning
I think
zone.
we are in the transitional phase and all that. Okay, but the thing is that when I come back, I also like to talk about what are the options in the Klang Valley for 2 days, and I want to also focus on your Sri Kembangan project. How did you embrace TOD and some of the challenges that you faced in undertaking the project that you just launched and all that? But hold your thoughts, Mr. Gan. We'll take a short break and we'll be back after these messages. Stay with us.
Jangan lupa, tontonlah pada setiap Khamis pukul 8.30 malam 1001 Destinasi musim ke-6 di Bernama News Channel. Semuanya tentang anda.
911 menampilkan pelbagai segmen menarik khas buat anda. Saksikan 911 setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 9 pagi hanya di Bernama News Channel.
Welcome back. We are talking about transit-oriented development in Malaysia, and now we have to focus on the Sri Kembangan area. Mr. Gan, your Villamas Group's companies endeavour to transform Sri Kembangan as a transit-oriented development through the Villamas Meta City. Tell me, what is this all about?
Meta City is our first TOD project.
Okay.
Consists of service apartments, hotel, shopping malls, corporate office, and branded suites.
Okay. But then how, also other areas also have this kind of facilities. How does this differ from others? You know?
Well, it is unique in the sense that it is going to change to elevate the landscape of Sri Kembangan. We are bringing in unique elements like international hotel, which is the Aloft Hotel, and we will have a shopping mall, which lifestyle mall, which will be very much focused on lifestyle element, such as the daily convenience, recreation, and entertainment.
So it is like almost like an entire ecosystem and all that kind of thing.
Yes, that's right.
How many units are you talking about for this entire project?
The entire project will have a GDV of 1.8 billion. Yeah, it is quite a sizable project for us.
And it's fully occupied. What kind of population you're talking about, you know?
Wow, we are talking about a population of 7,000 roughly.
Okay.
Yeah, plus all the commercials, visitors and tenants as well.
Yeah, because one of the things about the Klang Valley and the Greater Klang Valley is that in the Klang Valley itself in Kuala Lumpur, much of the development was like sporadic and more chaotic and all that. Like Sri Kembangan is like the edge of the city, and when you're talking going forward, you're talking about Putrajaya, Cyberjaya, you're talking about Klang and all that. Do you think in future there'll be greater allowance for planning, you know, TODs that really encompass all the amenities? You're talking about residential, commercial, all the amenities, housing, school, where people will actually be really having a sustainable lifestyle, looking forward as far as Malaysia is concerned.
Well, I think that is a great possibility of that, provided such a development has to be nearby a mass transit station.
Okay.
That's one important thing, and there must be sizable enough that it will be very difficult to do such a planning on a smaller plot of land, so say like 1 or 2 acres. That would be quite impossible to have all these elements within that small piece of land. So for us, we are quite fortunate. We have almost 12.5 acres of land, so that we can do all this nice planning to put in different elements, the commercial,
so it was
the
like,
offices.
it was coincidental that you all had a land there, is it?
Yes.
It is not like they're going to plan a TOD, then you go and buy land there and all that kind of thing.
In this case, it is not.
It is not. Okay.
Yeah.
But I suppose in future, I think the developers will be encouraged to take up TOD development beside these transit areas. One of the questions I want to ask is, when you undertake TOD development, or in future just per se TOD development, will the municipalities, state governments and all that urban planners provide some kind of incentives to developers to undertake such TOD developments as opposed to normal property development projects?
Well, I believe the greatest incentive for a TOD development is you can have a higher intensity of land use. That means you can build more within the same plots
and
of
put
land.
more people there, right?
And put more people. I mean, that's actually the basic idea. We want to put more people near to the station, so more people are using the mass transit and less reliable on the private vehicles.
Okay, so when is the project supposed to come on stream?
While we have started selling our first block of service apartment. Yeah.
For service apartments and all that.
Yeah, we have just started selling it.
How is the demand, take-up rate there?
Okay, from what we gathered, we have a very encouraging response from the public. I believe our price are more reasonable as for with reference to any TOD developments. And we can see that we actually enjoy a very overwhelming response from the younger generations. These are the people who are open to the idea of transiting to works and all that.
When is the completion date? How long is this project?
Well, this will take us a while. Meta City, it is our 10 years project.
I see.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year project.
Yes, it's a 10-year project.
And the first phase is scheduled for completion by?
4.5 years from now. So yeah.
So how would you describe Villamas? Is it a big-time property player, or you're trying to become a big-time now?
We wouldn't say we are big. There are many big boys in the city.
I think you're being very humble for the fantastic project you're taking.
Yeah, but it's we really enjoy the challenge of developing this project. It's the biggest project that we have so far.
So keep you busy for the next decade and all that. Mr. Khan, one of the things when you're talking about some of the pillars that constitute a transit-oriented development, one of the features you're talking about is it should contain affordable housing, But I think that's a little bit of difficulty there, because most developers who want to maximize profits and focus on high-end properties, you see. So when you're talking from a general point of view for property developers, how will they be able to bring in this feature of affordable housing when the cost of land is so high and you want to maximize profits? Can you still bring in the element of affordable housing into TOD development?
Actually, that is a very big challenge for developer to do so. If a developer were to buy a land that is that is qualified for TOD, they have to pay a very high price for the land in the first place. So, but having said that, it doesn't mean we shouldn't carry out our social responsibility being a caring Malaysian company. Just that as a developer, we will urge the governments to be more pragmatic on implementing their policy of affordable housing on TODs. That is the request from us as a developer.
Yeah, because actually I understand your position, because you can't expect developers to solve the problem of affordable housing. It is a long-term problem which has been started about 20 years ago, maybe along the lines of HDB and all that.
Yeah.
But going forward, when you build TODs, it has to be inclusive and taking into account the whole ecosystem of the area, see. Does that include Sri Kembangan, because you're talking about a 10-year project and all that? So have you taken into account that when a person lives in Meta City, it will be a very inclusive, sustainable living for the dweller?
Inclusive living is the first thing we thought of with this Meta City.
I see.
That is why we are bringing in different elements to the project. Meta City will be a place to stay, obviously, and a place to work as well. Yeah. Having that, we are having the Meta City Mall, which is a place to gather for their daily needs, I mean shopping needs, the daily amenities, as well as recreation and entertainment.
Yeah, I want to talk more of this project, but we have to take a short break. When we return, we'll get more details on the Villamas TOD project in Sri Kembangan. Stay with us. Welcome back, Mr. Gunn. Talking about the TODs, I think it requires cooperation between a lot of stakeholders. You're talking about the federal government, you're talking about state governments, you're talking about municipalities, urban planners, and property developers. And remember the question I asked you about affordable housing. It is the government also to intervene. But as far as TOD is concerned, do you think that Malaysia has been able or should get its act firmer together, and all the stakeholders coming together to really push TOD forward? You know why? As I said before, you talked about Cyberjaya, Putrajaya, we're talking about Klang Valley. Let's not even forget about the ECRL, you see, and we're talking about the double tracking project. So all these are transportation projects which really open up the land. So we cannot afford to let our development just go on sporadic or chaotic manner, is it?
Yes,
So do you think everyone should come together and pull together the same direction?
Yes, definitely, definitely. If the government were to spend so much on the infrastructure of mass transit, and we believe that that's the better lifestyle of promoting the use of mass transit, then naturally the government with all its agencies should work together to promote, to make it a success for all these TOD developments. Yeah, they should make to have more incentive and encouragement, so that more people will move to the TOD areas, more businesses will move to the TODs areas. So that is what we are looking forward from the governments, to further incentive the TOD developments.
How are people's response? Because when you're selling a unit, a house and all that, right, that's normal, I want to own a house. But how do you sell? Is this a additional selling point that the house that you're going to stay in comes in a TOD environment, is it? So are these like attractions, you know, for you're going to be near a school, you're going to be other facilities, residential, commercial, so you don't have to go out of your way to another place. It's all near you at your doorstep.
Yes,
you know?
or you can commute to other schools, or you can commute to the hospital. Yes, definitely this is very much in demand. This is a property that's very much in demand, TOD developments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to go forward right now.
Yeah, you just think of it. Now, if you were to stay in our traditional taman, you probably need 2 cars.
Okay.
Or if you were to stay in a TOD development, you'll be very much, you just need a car, you know, where else on a daily basis you all can commute, and you can just use the car for weekends. So just imagine that there's a lot of saving by having 1 car less.
Yeah, that is that theoretically that should work, right? Like,
yeah, that is like 800,000 saving, 800 ringgit saving for having 1 car less.
But then the reality in Malaysia is that the private transport ownership is quite high. The rate is quite high in Malaysia, the car ownership, you know. So, and then there's also a general observation that public transportation usage is not really at a very high level, you see. So when you have a low level of public transport usage, you have high private ownership, where do you come in, you know?
That's why TOD is the one to encourage the use of mass transit. You cannot use a mass transit if you stay 2 kilometers away.
Okay.
That it takes a great effort to get into the station. But if you were to stay in the TOD development, it's just a 5 minutes brisk walk to the station. I believe most of us would take the mass transits.
Maybe a selling point for you would be to tell your residents that once you are living in a TOD, you can actually sell your second car. You don't need your second or third car. Because right now you notice in Malaysia, everybody owns the car, the father, the mother, the son, the daughter. You know?
I believe actually the cars, private car sales has stagnated for a little while. Maybe that is due to the use of mass transit, maybe, I don't know.
But then you must understand that the propensity to own cars among Malaysians is very high and all that.
Yes.
Mr. Khan, just want to talk to you about some of your projects. We are talking about your TOD project and all that, but what are some of your earlier projects and some of the renowned projects that people can recognize that what Villamas is all about?
We have been in the business for about 20 years.
Okay.
And all the while we have been focusing on Klang Valley, building condominiums. Yeah, some of the better project that we have taken is like the Verde in Ara Damansara.
Okay.
And we have 2 projects in Cyberjaya, which is the Crystal Residence and the Serene Residence, as well as there are other projects in Puchong Jaya and Bukit Jalil as well.
Bukit Jalil was the Andes,
Yeah, the Andes.
So when you mentioned the Bukit Jalil and Ara Damansara, these are actually prime areas that you are involved in, you see.
Yes,
so was it like, again, coincidentally you had the land there, or you undertook the develop the project there?
Our business nature is we have to keep on buying lands and build and sell. So this is just part of the land that we acquired.
So most of them are what, mixed residential or commercial?
It's a pure residential project
For
our previous project.
But what are the take-up rate, you know?
We enjoy a very good take-up rate, fortunately.
I see.
Yeah.
So that means when you are talking about, I'm going back to Villamas and Sri Kembangan, you're talking about the first phase and all that.
Yeah.
How many phases are there, and has the marketing done for the other phases? Because I like to ascertain how is the demand for all the phases you're talking.
We only have 2 residential towers.
Okay.
Consists of about 1,800 units of residential units. At the moment, we are having our first tower, which consists of 1,400 units of apartments. Okay, so the second tower will probably be launched in the early next year.
Early next year,
Yes.
Because they always are talking about a soft property market. But from your demand for your units, do you think the market is soft, or there is some pent-up demand for your units at the at Sri Kembangan?
Yes, in general, the property market is soft, but I believe at the more affordable property, the demand is still very high. We have a young populations that needed houses for them.
Yeah, I think because at the end of the day, because property is an important sector of the gross domestic product, and it has to grow and all that. Anyway, Mr. Gan, thank you for the insight into transit-oriented development. I wish you good luck in your Villamas project at Sri Kembangan. So I would like to go there and see what the TOD is all about and all that kind of thing. Okay? That's all for BizTalk this week. Until the next time, bye for now.
Datuk Nicole David dan Datuk Lee Chong Wei, dua figura hebat sukan squash dan badminton, mengharumkan nama Malaysia di pesada dunia selama 2 dekad.